You know what I think I'm going to do today is destroy 4 brand new aircraft oil filters.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Hey folks, today we're going to try to show you what goes on with aircraft oil filters. So we've got 4 new oil filters, some actually kind of new old stock, whatever, but we're going to show you what's going on with aircraft oil filters. Now, this is toward the end of the summer of 2022, so anyone who's out there with aircraft understands that we're in a shortage of aircraft oil filters. What's going on there? Well, the big problem is right now there's only 2 manufacturers of aircraft oil filters. One of them is not selling them because they're out of stock, because they contract their filters out. The other one is at full rate and they're trying to keep up. So that's kind of what's going on there. Just a quick story. One of the things you might wonder is why aren't these folks getting going and all that? Well, when you really get down to it, the aircraft oil filter business is a boutique market. If we, in USA, there's only about 250,000 aircraft total, general aviation aircraft. So we'll use that as an example because the math is kind of easy. Of that, you've got corporate jets, you've got turbine helicopters, turbine aircraft that aren't equipped with oil filters, or they don't use these type cartridge oil filters that we're going to be talking about today. So you're looking at maybe, let's just say 250,000 install volume. Okay, cool. If everybody changes their oil once a year on average, that's probably about right. Divide that by so that's 250,000 per year you're going to make. You divide that by 50, you're not making 5,000 oil filters a week, assuming everybody's just changing the heck out of their filters. So 5,000 oil filters divided by 2 people, that's 2,500 oil filters. That's not a whole lot of oil filters as far as manufacturing goes. Tempest right now, kind of give you the backstory on that. Tempest is at full rate production. I am not being endorsed by Tempest. I could be, but I'm not being endorsed by Tempest at all. These were purchased or actually borrowed. But Tempest is currently at full rate production. They have got their tooling at full rate, their personnel at full rate. If they go and double up production, it's going to take them 12 to 18 months to get machinery in place, long lead time for capital goods as far as machine tools and production line and all that. So they've looked at it and said, well, we're just going to kind of stay at full rate, keep the machine going, and service the business. Champion is, and again, we'll talk about this a little bit, is contracts their oil filters out. There's some different things on the web and all that. Long story short, they were not having their oil filters delivered because of some issues with their supplier, between them and their suppliers. So they haven't had oil filters up until we're into September 2022. They haven't been shipping oil filters for 8 months. So that's why anyone in the aircraft business, the GA piston business, is seeing a shortage of oil filters. What's that mean to you, the aircraft owner? Order your oil filters from your supplier. Get them on order. If you at least get them on order, it's going to be first in, first out. So when you get your orders, when they get an order in, they get a skid of filters in from their supplier, at least you'll be in order. Don't wait until the last minute. You'll never get one. So that's what's going on there. Now, I'm going to show you some of the different filters I've got today. This is a brand new Tempest oil filter. Brand new, unused. In fact, we'll open them up. So this is a brand new one, 48103. This goes in your small 4-cylinder engines. Comes with a nice bag, looks pretty good. So like I said, brand new, unused, and we're going to tear it up. So that's a 48103-2 Tempest oil filter, brand new. Again, looking at the case and all that, nice bead on it, spot welded in 4 big places, so it looks pretty good, pretty nice looking deal. So that's brand new 48103-2. Now, I've got another 48103. I got this off the back shelves of our local supplier, and this is basically not for sale, but we're going to cut it open anyway. A brand new, there's nothing wrong with this filter, but a brand new 48103 oil filter. This one is, let's see if there's any date code on it. I don't see any date coding, but obviously a couple years old. Looks pretty much just like the other one. Take a nice plastic bag off, keeps all the crap out of it. Looks pretty much just like the other one, same crimp, same little bit different, a little bit taller can, same spot welds and all that, so a little bit different shape. We'll have to figure out why there's a difference in that. And so that's another 48103. That's the old 48103 filter, and it should have it marked. There it is, up in big red there. This one's a little bit different. This is the Spin Easy. It's got a coating on it, so we'll talk about that. Number 3 is the Champion. This is a 48103. This is actually got from a shop, and we're tearing this one up because this was on their shelf. This is what started the whole thing. The gasket's missing when it was up on the shelf, so this is a Champion 48103 filter, and we'll take a look at it. It's got 6 small spot welds, good looking end cap for the wrenching. This is a 1-inch square flat. Looks pretty good. Seams look good. Everything looks pretty good. Instructions on the side, quite nice. And again, these have instructions on the side, also the Tempest. So that's kind of cool to see. Nice to see. Kind of makes it stupid proof or stupid resistant. How's that? And then we have the Red-Headed Stepchild. I got this off of a distributor shelf. These are not available anymore. These are Kelly Aerospace. This is a 48104. That's why it's taller. The distributor stopped selling these because they had some real service issues. They had seam blowouts, things of that nature. But we'll take a look at it.
There are 3 kinds of pipe. There's the kind of pipe you have, which is garbage.
And compare it. Again, these are not available, but we'll compare it. It's got 4 little spot welds on it. This sheet metal thing is pretty chinky. We had problem. I'll tell you why these aren't out there anymore. We had problems with these shearing off. You try to remove the filter, these would shear off. They also had seam failures. That was an issue. You look at the amount of holes on the bottom. It's got 4, very similar to the Tempest. Actually, this is the latest Tempest. It's similar to the early Tempest. Again, this is the Champion. So we'll tear this one apart just because we can tear it apart. But these aren't out there anymore. So really, at the end of the day, there's only two choices for piston engines, is the Tempest and the Champion. So we're going to focus on those, but we're going to talk about these, see what Tempest did as far as improvements and what why Kelly is rubbish. So that's the deal there. Let's cut them open, and to cut them open, we're going to use, I've got again, not a paid endorsement. I bought it because I like the fit and finish of it. This is an Airwolf AFC 470 filter cutter. It's got a nice little, it's basically just a pipe cutter wheel in it. Got some wheels up here for the filter to roll on, and pretty simple to use. Just put that over there. Just put it in there like that. And the way I was always taught is just bring it snug, and then you spin it, and then when it starts getting easy, give it another twist. Make it keep spinning it. And just same thing with cutting, if you're cutting copper pipe or that kind of stuff. Start spinning easy, give it a twist. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. It's almost cut. There we go. And this is the way a filter comes apart. Now, real important on taking a filter apart, these edges are crazy sharp, okay? So this is a Kelly filter. There's a spring to hold it in. This is the filter assembly itself. Just a filter cartridge. We're going to cut that open, take a look at it. This is the spring to keep it in the back. And then we have the lower base to show you there. So that's what the Kelly looks like coming apart. Nothing really going on in there. Just a spring to keep this spring against the base of the filter. Now the way a filter works is the engine oil comes in these outer holes here. The engine oil comes in on the oil circuit on the outer holes here, through the filter element here, around the outside of the filter, through here, and then back in. There's a metal tube on the inside to keep, in case this happens to crush or get packed, it will keep this from collapsing here and starving the engine. So that's what's going on there. Okay, so that's what's going on there. Let's look at the old Tempest. We'll look at the old Tempest. Actually, let's just do the Champion. Be done with it. Get the Champion going. Okay. Normally I put this in a vise and I spin the tool, but we're on video, so that's what's going on there. And as I said, be very careful with this, because everything you're going to be doing it's sharp metal. Come on, baby. There we go. Take it all apart. Okay, so Champion filter has a base, has a gasket on the bottom, filter element, and then a spring to keep it bottomed out. So that's pretty much the way it's set up. That's a Champion 48103-1. Okay, we'll look at the old Tempest 48103, AA 48103. Come on. Now this is a lot easier to do when there's no oil in the filter, a lot less mess. And again, I'm going to get all sorts of hate for destroying brand new airworthy filters. But this is for you. Okay. Woo! Okay, now filter base, gasket, just like the this one here has a bit of a gasket. This is actually a hard plastic on the Champion. That and that. So that's the 48103. There's a spring to keep it stuck or pressed against the deal. Now, if this filter ends up packing up, any of these filters ends up packing up completely full, this will actually, because of pressure, it'll actually lift and it'll bypass through this. Because of this spring here, it'll bypass. So for that to happen, you must have had some very extremely underserviced oil or metal trauma that just completely packed up the filter. So here's the Spin Easy Tempest AA 48103-2, brand new. In fact, this one here is, we just got it. Like I said, I'm going to get a lot of hate for killing a filter, but this is for you guys. This filter, also this filter cutter and all the filter cutters that you get, you'll want to make sure that they have a hole here. Some of the filters will have a stub nipple, and that'll stick through there so that you can spin it easy. Doo-doo. So whatever filter cutter you get one that works well. That's all I would recommend. Okay. There we go. Same basic setup as this one. A little bit different cartridge. Let's see if it is different. Aha, I'm going to show you something else here. That's about the same. About the same. Okay, I'm going to come back to this. Spring on the top. So kind of neat. Now this is the one element that the I'm going to put this over here so that make them look the same. Nothing on that one. Paper gasket. This is something you may not, you will not realize as a mechanic maintainer. You probably didn't notice it, but there's a difference between the 48103-2 Tempest. It's got the easy spin. It's got some schmoo put on here to help you spin it on. A lot of times we've used DC4. On this particular filter, they say do not use DC4 because this is a dry lube. So that's what's going on there. Spring to hold it against the back in case you get bypass, so that's kind of neat. The one thing you will not see on these aircraft filters is what they call a drain back valve, which is a large rubber membrane to keep the oil from draining back into the engine. It helps on cars with cold starts. You'll have the oil right away, but it's not an aircraft thing. I don't know why they don't put them in. Again, some of our filters are mounted, they're mounted all different positions, so it may be a function of that. I don't know. So that's the deal there. Interesting thing, and I kind of glanced over it. These two Tempest filters look almost the same except for the shmoo on the gasket. However, the one thing I completely forgot about is if you notice, this is the spring that holds it up. On this one here, there's a magnet. This is the old version. It has a magnet on it. Well, why would they get rid of the magnet? The way it was told to me is all the magnets come from China, and the magnet factory, they can't get magnets from the magnet factory. So the Tempest filters haven't had magnets on them for about a year, year and a half, something in that order. So if you're looking for a magnet, the nice thing about having a magnet is it's going to attract any ferrous particles that would come through the filter. But these things, the current filter does not have any magnets. So you're going to see a difference in the cartridge there. The newer cartridge is a little bit shorter. We're going to measure those, and we'll put a graphic up. You can see the current one versus the older one. We're going to count the pleats and find out how many square inches. Same thing here. This looks to be a similar, probably within about 5 millimeters difference. So we'll count the pleats and square footage on that one too. This is a completely different type of different part number. So, and it's not even around anymore. So we're not even gonna spend any time with that. So you can see the spring on the Champion is quite a bit heftier, more robust. Looking at this, this looks like this kind of looks like a Baldwin filter. That's another thing I'll leave with you. If you're interested in oil filters, there's a couple good nuggets out on the YouTubes and the interweb for oil filters, especially automotive oil filters. There's a great website called Mini Mopar. I'll put the Kinsey Mini Mopar, something like that. I'll put that link down below. Everything you want to know about oil filters. What you'll find is a lot of your oil filter companies, there's only so many of them out there, but there's a ton of people or organizations, companies, whatever, selling oil filters, such as Ford. Ford doesn't have an oil filter plant. Chevy doesn't have an oil filter plant, or GM or BMW. They may not. They may job all it out to a contract filter company. And a lot of times you'll see, whether it's Pep Boys or AutoZone or whatever your automotive supplier is, they'll have their house brand, but a lot of times they'll be contracted out to companies like Baldwin. Champion Laboratories, no relation to this Champion. So it's nice to know what kind of oil filters you use for different stuff. Me personally, on my cars, I use Wicks, and go to Mini Mopar and check it out. There's another great video, and I'll show it to you. Shows how to make them. It's from the Fram. It's how it's made. I'll put that link below too. I think it's kind of interesting to see how it is. Anytime you're dealing with the oil filters, taking them apart, and I'm going to go fast forward on taking these apart, but this metal is very thin. The reason it's thin is to keep it lightweight, less cost, but it's also razor sharp, so be very careful of that. So we're going to cut these apart. Again, be real careful of these cans, taking it apart. The one thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the connector out and take that out, and then we're going to unfold the element. So that's the next step. Okay, here we go. We're going to kind of fast forward, or maybe just do a time leap and do that. So that's what's going on right now.
11 minutes later.
Okay, guys, we are back. So we've got everything cut apart. Again, I can't emphasize anymore. This metal is very sharp, so when you're cutting them apart, just be careful of that. I'll also link another. YouTube video. Our friend Steve Pierce has a great one. I call it the gorilla method of taking these apart, but it's the quickest, fastest, safest way probably. You'll need a bench vise. but taking apart a filter that already has oil in it and all that. But it's the easiest, best way, quickest way to do it. Keep a lot of shop time. Most importantly is wear some gloves. But I'll put a link down below to Steve's disassembly. But long story short, we got these apart. This is the inner tube I was talking about right here. The oil comes from the outer holes here around the filter into this way, and then through here back to the engine. Now the reason for this tube is in case this does get completely full, it won't collapse. So that's the whole deal there, and it will allow the filter to bypass. So what did we do? What we did is I took just nominal measurements. I don't have any qualitative or quantitative data on the filter medium itself. I just measured the square inches of medium. Because of the way the filter is attached, the filter medium is attached here. I just took the distance between the two end caps, the edge of the end caps. They're all same rollover, so I took that dimension times length. We stretched it out on the table here and did a measurement. So what we came in at was the, and again, this is just for the 48103 filter, so everything's relative. We measured the width of the 48103. That's at 2.4 inches, and I'll put a graphic up converting to metric also for those folks. We had the old Tempest 48103, and then we had the new Tempest 48103-2. So on the Champion, it was 2.4 inches flange to flange. The old Tempest was 2.5, new Tempest was 2.2. Again, that gives you the reason why the can's a little shorter. They made the cartridge a little narrower. We stretched it out on the table, pulled the element as snug as we could, just basically get it to flat and where it won't stretch anymore. This one here was 48103-1, Champion, was 99 inches long. Again, we measured them consistently, so this is all relative. The Tempest 48103 was 94.5 inches long. The Tempest 103-2 was 98 inches long. Kind of interesting. So we take the width versus the length, do the math, and what we end up with is the Champion has about 237.6 square inches of filter medium. The old Tempest has 236.25, very close, within a point or so. And then the new Tempest has 215.6. I thought that was kind of interesting in that the new Tempest has about 8% less filter media. Not a thing, just a thing. So again, I don't know what the difference in the media. I did notice that cutting these apart, the new Tempest seemed to cut easier. I don't know what that means as far as what material it's made out of. The Champion was a real bugger to cut apart. Taking apart the Champion, it seems pretty apparent that this is a contract build, Baldwin, based on some of the stuff I've looked at on the interwebs. My opinion is this is a Baldwin contract filter. Interesting note, Baldwin filters, again, the difference is, some of the difference is there's no drain bag valve. There's they have the nut ended on the end, or welded on the end of it, spot welded on the end of it, markings and all that. But it is interesting that a Baldwin filter sells for $5 and about $5, and a Champion sells for $45. So not going to say anything on that. So kind of interesting there. So that's what we came up with. I'll put the graphics up. The other thing is we talk about changing oil all the time. So, and I'm going to do the math on the fly here. But if you look at a car, we change the oil. We like to change the oil, or let's just assume we're changing the oil on our, anytime we have a filter on an aircraft engine, we like to change the oil at 50 hours. So if you think about that, do 50 hours, and then average speed on a car between highway and whatnot, I think if you got 40 miles an hour, that would be pretty optimistic between driving local and whatnot. So if you just figure an average 40 miles an hour times 50 hours, that's 2,000 hours, or pardon me, 2,000 miles. So when you look at it, again, cars we normally change at 5,000. On the aircraft, we're changing them probably at half filter duty when you really get down to it. So you're keeping your oil clean. Most importantly, change your oil filter anytime you can, whether it's a radial engine, piston engine, old piston engine, doesn't matter. The most important thing is to get the debris and the materials away from the engine so your engine runs better. So that's what we found is kind of interesting. I'll put the numbers up again, and that's all I'm saying is this is the way they're made. It's pretty simple. Make good choices, do what you can. Most importantly, change your oil and change your filters, and clean oil is good oil. HangaRatz out.